On today's Minute of the Apes, we're all in the same room together. Let's hug, boys.
It's a big group hug.
Hey.
And now we play music.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
You're the keepers of the divine bomb.
The only good human is a dead human! Where there is fire, there is smoke.
The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. And I can say for the first time in a year,
Year and a half, maybe.
we are all in the same room to record this. So the biggest thing, besides the fact that we all got to share a group hug, is that I never, ever have to hear Sean's headphones going or clipping out or whatever.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard it at all.
Oh, you're so big and boomy in that microphone. I like it.
So buttery.
Is it on the podcast audio? Can you hear it when you play it back?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
that's
because
what
And there are a lot of tools that are at your disposal to fix those kind of things. None of them fix that thing.
yeah, it's because the vibrating motor is literally next to the microphone on my headset. So
Wow,
whenever it
that seems like a
instead
design
of
flaw.
yeah, you think you put it on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is there are many reasons I'm glad to be back with you. That being one of them, but it's nice to see you guys' faces.
Heyo.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen
Been over
Richard
a
a
year.
lot. I've seen Richard a lot over the last year because we
Right.
live 3 streets away from each
Right.
other. Yeah.
But, I may get down this way, but it's never been that we weren't all vaccinated, but now all of us and our immediate significant others and whatnot are vaccinated.
What was the last date that we actually got together? Do you have that date? Was it when were we? So the store locked down at the end of March, right? That's when
Right.
it was March 29th, 23rd, somewhere like right in there when it was shut down. And then I was reminded that my CrossFit gym actually had to close 2 weeks earlier.
Okay.
And I kind of remember, wasn't there a moment where they were closing bars and clubs, but not restaurants, and
Yes.
they kind of phased through these things over the course of March. So I can't remember where I was in terms of being protective about being out around people with COVID until it just kind of suddenly happened.
Right.
So I don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, what the
when
tipping
we stopped.
point?
Was
Yeah.
it February? Was it January? When did we oh, hey, maybe we shouldn't get together?
I honestly think so. The way that my memory of COVID works is more around that we took Abby for her college visit to CU Boulder, and it was the weekend that we went that COVID lockdowns began. We literally were on that campus and they start locking it down. And that's why I think that it was prior to that. So that would have been spring break of March. So it would have been the 1st of March at the best.
I'm looking at my previous notes and the last modified dates, and I'm seeing Conquest Minute 33 was March 1st, 2020.
That would have been about
so
right.
it's been like since it's been half a movie or 2/3 of a movie plus a fourth of
Right.
or a third of a movie coming in. so
Our life is measured by movies.
Yeah.
It is,
by minutes
but-
of movies.
It's so weird to do this again, but it also feels so natural to do it again.
Yes.
because we did it like this before. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were joking as I set up. I'm looking at my computer and I'm like, the one thing that I'm missing, and I'm like, what? I know I'm not launched something. And that's when I realized there is no Zoom here, and I could actually look across and see Richard looking to me, and I'm never gonna get tired of this. So yay for that. Why don't we go on? We've already spent enough time
Hey, you know
catching
what?
people
There-
up to.
There is no Zoom gods telling us when to stop now.
Oh wait, okay, screw it. We're just gonna talk about what
There's
what
no
to-
rush. What are you worried about?
That is true. But the truth is, I think that people, I think even the quality of what they're going to hear the recording and not having to worry about clipping over each other.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
you got, no, wait, hang
Before,
on.
if he had done that, I would have been like, oh God,
No, you
that-
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, and
No, you
how
go
many
ahead.
times did we say that over the past year and a half of just no, you first, please.
Well, also having the Zoom window.
Now it's going to be fuck you. It's my turn.
By the way, because I can tell you, angle your mic up to your mouth just a little bit. Just
Yeah,
there you go.
I like
Perfect.
that.
Thank you.
And I was commenting when we got here earlier, without having that zoom window up, I can actually better look at the video and
Yeah.
kind of as we go through it, notice more details than I was earlier. So at least the first part of this movie didn't get maybe as much justice as it deserved. Or maybe it did.
Maybe it
Well,
did.
and-
Maybe
and-
it
man, it's fine.
exactly as much.
We've already all kind of touched on the fact that what we're going to hit this week, I think, may be our favorite set of minutes that we've done of this movie so far. And it's
yeah.
really
Correct,
because
yeah.
what you're going to hear this week, I think, is a much more cohesive bit of storytelling. Are there stumbles? Yes. But we get a lot of that.
To the minutes credit here, it goes back to the script. The script is now I'm lining up minute by minute.
They're
with the
syncing
script.
it.
There's
Oh, really?
only one moment this entire week that's not part of this series of minutes in the script, and it's like they're actually coming back and using the script again for these moments.
Awesome.
Whereas the prior stuff, when they're running through the tunnels with the mutants, a lot of that was just kind of like, we're just gonna
Whatever.
wing it. Yeah, just shoot some video and see what happens.
Right. And I will tell you guys, since we're doing this for the first time where I'm playing back things, my board with rotating knobs instead of faders, I'm not going to bring our mics down while we hear the minute. So if you decide to talk during a
quiet.
minute, that will be on the podcast. And I don't care if you do, but at the same time, I at least want you to know that.
All right.
Is that fair?
Burp.
Nah.
Sean always burps, he always farts, so we're all used to that. Sean, tell us what's going on with minute
All
41.
right, we're going to start minute 41 with Culp saying you knew every nut and bolt in these corridors, and ends with Culp saying to organize scout parties.
All right, here we come. Minute 41, Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
You knew every bolt and nut in those corridors. You have 100 armed men. How could you let them escape?
They were fast and smart, Governor Culp. Many of my men were sick, and the chimp surprised us.
Yeah, he surprised me too once. But he's an animal. He's only an animal.
No, Governor. He's more than an animal. He can speak. So can they all.
So speech makes them human?
Speech makes them intelligent. And intelligence may make them not human, but humane. Perhaps they came in peace.
Oh, idiot, they were armed.
From what we saw on the monitor, only for their self-protection. Let them return in peace.
To where?
To wherever they live.
So that they can come back here and exterminate those of us that the bomb has not already exterminated? Where do they live?
They came with few provisions. It can't be too far.
Which way did they head?
They headed north, Governor.
Organize scout parties.
As minute 41, we have a village worth of apes and humans, plus a ghost city's worth of radioactive people.
Man, I'm going to have so many moments of us being in the same room together and it working so much better. So trying to cue Sean after a minute when we've watched it on Zoom, I'm always doing this and hoping he sees me.
I'm paying attention to
and I
you.
know you are, but here we are in the room and I can literally hold up 2, 1, and it was almost like we were back in our old television days. Sean took the cue. I'm like, yes! Oh, and I knocked my mic. See, that's real production.
They were fast. They were fast. Oh my God. I burst out so hard when he said that.
Well, okay, so here we go with a moment of them reacting after the much maligned quote unquote chase scene in and out of their compound. There are a lot of things that I like in this. I like the camera setups where it's Culp high, the guy is speaking too low. I mean, definitely just with the angles of it establishes what we should have. I like how it's a hard cast of light upon the guy that's talking, like, you know, he's sort of coming out of the shadows to report this. So I like that. However, that first line in his response, I was like, wow.
That just sounds like what your kid would say whenever they. Why did the dog ran away? Why
Right.
did you not get the dog? The dog was fast.
And smart. Don't forget about the and smart, fast and smart. You know, that didn't set me as much as it did you. What I liked about this is the first opening of the second was this wide shot, right, of Culp and Mendez and Alma kind of up on the steps and the captain kind of approaching the steps, and we finally get a sense of where Culp is, and it actually looks like they brought back the animal control set again for use, that we're not necessarily in that water containment area, because it has those computer systems. But before we just saw them in that area. Now we actually kind of get a brighter shot of where they're at, and we have the steps that kind of come down. So I was curious if they actually reused some of the set they used for Conquest, just because of the the use of the stairs and the control center behind it.
It's very possible, and I think that one of the episodes before, I think someone noticed something that it felt like that same control room that we saw numerous times, so they may have pulled that stuff out. I know these weren't shot that far apart. They knew they had to go. So that's pretty possible.
They probably had it there, yeah. So it works. It's a nice pullback. It gives a sense of that where they were, that we know that they're still in the same city or a city similar to it.
You know, and working in shadows like this too does such great stuff for set decoration, because you can literally throw garbage on. Because if you look at a lot of the stuff behind them, it's canisters, it's things like that look like they have a purpose, but they can be garbage. And I love the fact that they're doing that. They're just casting off light, like they don't even have a true light source.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it's minute 10, you just see some guy picking up some box and just moving it away, and shuffling off with it. I mean, with no purpose behind it. Just
oh wait, you know what he looks like though? So that's second. At about exactly 10, you're right. When he looks towards the action, he reminds me for some reason of the old man in the third Indiana Jones movie that has this. You must choose wisely.
He chose poorly.
Yeah, it's like he's sort of looking like. Anyway, so we move on from these people.
So this guy is also justifying why they couldn't catch the apes because one, they're fast. 2, my people are sick. Does Culp know that there are sick people, or is this a hidden fact? He shouldn't have to tell Culp that they're sick if he already knows these people are radiated and dying.
I mean, almost picking pieces of skin off of her face. I know he's aware that they're sick, but I don't think he's expecting that as an excuse why he couldn't chase. He probably has to assume that they're the same as them, right? That they're also mutated and slow and stupid.
Well, I mean, Culp is not acting like he's sick. So is it saying that some people are sick and they're the ones that have to do all this? Really, really sick people are the ones that are having to do the work, and as you get worse, you get downgraded in what you can do.
I mean, isn't that any kind of tyrannical monarchy, right? That kind of idea where the leadership is oblivious to, the king is oblivious to his people's deficiencies when he himself is also mad or deficient in the same way.
Well, this is the first two of a moment that is probably one or two of my chief complaints about the minutes this week, which is, again, that had we seen the sickness of those people, if we'd seen people with their faces rotting, or that they couldn't drink, or things like that, if we had seen these things,
that's why those people were laying on that wall.
Yeah.
Is that where they put the most deadly people that are most irradiated away from everybody else that are about to die? Yeah,
I think that if we had seen them, then a conversation like this weighs very differently upon what we're bringing to the scene.
Yeah.
An audience is always an active participant to some extent. You're bringing your experiences and the knowledge you've been given, and in this, and I think that this comes again later in the week when we hear Caesar kind of talking about this, that I'm like, we didn't see any of this, but they're just sort of surmising these people are sick. And
in the new movies, you would see the sick people,
right?
You would see the apes being faster instead of just people in costumes running down a hallway. You would actually see them moving faster, because you will see that in the new movies. They make them ape-like, and
they're 100% ape-like.
Yeah, they can go in trees. They move in 3 directions instead of just running down a hallway.
And people could fight that they didn't have the CG elements. You could still do something to approximate that gives them, fast cuts where they jump somewhere.
Yeah.
You could do all kinds of, if they can make the Bionic Man, you slow him down, you can do the same kind of thing where you're just playing with it.
Yeah.
And they could have made that work.
And then the fact that they can speak, why is that a surprise? They knew of Caesar starting a revolution 12-ish years ago. So that's not a surprise. The only thing that should be a surprise is if they didn't know other apes could speak. If Virgil was the one that spoke, and they go, wait, another one can talk? But they talk about, we don't want to break a peace that we've had for 10 years or whatever. So is it a peace with the apes that they already know about? Is it a peace with just Caesar? Is it... Do they know other apes can talk? I don't understand why they're surprised that an an ape can talk if they don't know if it's Caesar.
Well, and especially, so you imagine that, Caesar's speech from the end of Conquest, to some extent, was shown on television to the people, the inhabitants. They've seen that footage. Should there, instead of they're surprised that he can speak, should